Hi, my name is Waylon Lewis. I'm with Walk the Talk Show, and I'm honored to be in the backyard of Brian Spielman, our longtime colleague, with Eliot Cowan, author of Plant Spirit Medicine. So I understand you're the first, I don't know how to say it, Western teacher in the lineage of this shamanic tradition.
I think it's a fair thing to say that, so far as I know, I was the first person in the West to rediscover and reintroduce what I call plant spirit medicine into the West.
So for those who don't know, which I think is most of our readership because we pretty much just play video games and kind of surf the internet, what is plant spirit medicine and how is it accessible and relevant to our daily lives?
Plant spirit medicine, first of all, is a form of herbalism, a form of healing, using plants. But it's a bit different from what's commonly practiced, at least in the West, in that in the West, plants are usually seen as factories of certain chemicals that are beneficial for the human chemistry and so forth, and that's beneficial and good. But in plant spirit medicine, plants are approached not as a chemical factory, but as a wise, living, fully aware being that has a great deal of depth, and I'm going to call it a sacred quality to it, that can be called upon to provide a deeper kind of healing than perhaps other approaches do. But I want to stress that it is a practical and effective method of healing.
For the many of us who really are hearing about this for the first time, what would be a simple exercise how to connect with? Would we go up to a tree that we love and sit down and be quiet and listen to the tree? How do we sort of touch in with this sacred, alive, interactive quality you're talking about?
Well, the basics are very simple. I mean, there's many ways, certain approaches to it, but the basics are very simple. One is to have let's call it an attitude or an approach of respect. That assuming, let's say if you want to get to know something more about a tree, assume that it is a sacred being with a great deal of wisdom and a lot to offer, and approach it that way. The second thing is to do whatever works for you to kind of quiet your mind down a little bit so that you can hear the tree or the plant as another being. And the third basic principle is the principle of exchange. In other words, if you approach a plant or some other kind of tree with the desire to get to know it, to learn something, it's like you're asking for something, and that means to keep things in balance, you want to offer something back in return.
There is some aspect you were talking about of direct connection or communication. We talk about being environmentalists all the time, but many of us don't even have gardens, or we don't really relate with the outside world. It's all technology. So, again, how would you advise people to relate to plants in a way that can kind of help them heal, or at least quiet down their minds, from a sort of beginner's level again?
Well, actually, I would say that there's two separate things there. One is, so far as the healing aspect is concerned, really the best opportunity there is to take the help of somebody who has already developed a deep relationship with plants and the medicine that they have to offer to help you with that, namely a healer. On the other hand, there is a great deal of knowledge and wisdom available to anybody who's interested in getting in touch with the plant world. And the main ingredient there is to be respectful and to be open to listen. Certainly anybody who is interested in any environmentalism in any form can learn a very great deal from plants, because plants are the living reality of balance with the environment themselves in every aspect of it. And if you take the time to listen, they're happy to share those things with you. There's a great deal to be learned. And again, the basics are slow down, quiet yourself down a little bit, offer respect, listen, and offer something in exchange.
Is there some, I mean, I understand that fire is important to your, the healing tradition or the practices. Do you mix up plants for some sort of herbal remedies? Is there some sort of contradiction inherent that you're using nature on some level?
Yes, well, this has to do with the healing aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about. So yes, the basis of plant spirit medicine as a healing modality is a deep personal relationship between the healer and the plant that he or she is calling on. They actually become friends or allies, and on the basis of that friendship, they make an agreement whereby the plant informs the healer what kind of medicine does it have to offer. And the healer asks the plant whether he or she can use it, and if so, how. And so it's like a partnership.
And does the plant in some way say, yes, you can cut off this branch or leaf, that's okay?
Well, it's always a matter of asking permission.
Right.
Yes. So in the way that I practice plant spirit medicine, actually there's a number of ways to deliver the medicine of the plant. Not all of them require using a branch or a root or so forth. Although in many practices they do. But throughout the world, wherever people practice this way, it's always considered essential to ask the permission of the plant and make sure that that permission is granted, that the plant gives itself, offers itself for healing purposes.
A lot of people out there might say, oh, this is silly, this is some sort of hippie thing, listening to plants. But, in the tradition I was brought up in, the Buddhist tradition, there is that idea of respect not only with plants, but animals and
Yes.
really everything. There's direct experience. It's not some sort of theoretical hippy-dippy thing. You're actually, as you say, quieting down and kind of connecting with the energy or the spirit of the plant. I understand this isn't exactly scientific, but is there some sort of do you get a very direct sensation, and is that sensation different from different plants?
Yes, of course it is. But I want to say this about, this is one of the beautiful things about healing as a spiritual endeavor. Healing necessarily is a practical art. It produces recognizable, concrete results, or not. If it sounds bizarre, or if it sounds unintelligible or mysterious or whatever, but it works to help people, then I think you have to grant it validity. Again, it's practical and measurable, demonstrable results.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Eliot Cowan, thank you so much. It's an honor to learn a very little bit about it. And if you want to learn much more, of course, the website is right here. Can you see it? Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Good to talk to you.